Hey, all you beautiful people. It is your boy Kotoyuki ESO, and I hope you guys are having a great day, because I know I am. I know I am, because I've been playing this brand new Magplar build. Let me tell you, this is this is definitely one of my favorite builds that I've played for Magplar for quite a while. It's got a lot of mobility, it's got really high healing, it's got pretty damn high damage too. It hurts really bad. It's more damage than most of the builds that I've been running lately. And it's just a whole lot of fun to play. Works solo, works small group. It just works. It's definitely a great build. So today I'm going to show you the build. I'm going to show you some gameplay. I don't have any new clips. If you've seen my last montage, I'm just going to be using some of the clips from that because I haven't gone into PvP since I made that. And yeah, if you want to see me collect more clips, you can go and follow me on twitch.tv/KuroyukiESO to see me test new builds live, play old ones as well. You know, just collect some clips for some videos, yada yada, all that good stuff. And if you want to get a sneak peek at builds that I'm working on currently, or thinking about working on, you can go and join my Discord. Both the Twitch and Discord links will be down in the description, as well as a Patreon link if you want to support me that way. By no means are you obligated to, but all the money that I get through all this stuff is going towards the channel. I want to get some new art, some new stuff for the Twitch channel, and I want to get a new mic, so that's what I'm working on now. And yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and stop the foreplay, and let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's go and look at the build. So, diving right on in, let's buff up. As you can see, we've got 3.5k spell damage. This is without major sorcery. This goes up to about 4k. Well, not about, but goes up to 4k with major sorcery. I'm just using a tripod right now because that's what I use in combat, so you can see the recoveries. We got 1561 mag, 1432 health, and 1348 stam. The resistances are humble, but enough. We've got 27669 spell and 25677 physical in the rune. Outside of the rune it is a little bit lower, 25 spell and 22.7 physical with 2.5k crit resist, which is plenty, 33,000 max mag, 27,000 max HP, and 18,000 max stam. On the back bar we do have a little bit more magical recovery, going up to 1770. This is a dark elf. I am using Bewitched Sugar Skulls, and I am using the Apprentice Mundus. If you are a Breton, then you'll be fine, don't change anything, although I would use a few more triglyphs than I am using. I'm only using one. Other than that, all you're going to do is lose a little bit of damage, and replace that with extra sustain and extra tankiness, which isn't really a bad thing. So Breton, Dark Elf both work. Those are the two I would use on this. I wouldn't use any other race. But Dark Elf is definitely my favorite. So that's it for the stat sheet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gear that I'm using. On the front bar, I have a Spinner's Greatsword. If you don't know what Spinner's does, it is max mag, and then some spell damage, and then a big chunk of persistent spell penetration. This is a great front bar set. I'm using a sharpened two-handed sword. Some people will ask why I use a two-handed sword. Well, the two-handed sword passives gives you 6% increase to all damage versus the 8% to only AoEs that using a lightning staff gives you, so that means all of my single target stuff will also get a buff, as well as giving 200 and some, yeah, about 250 more spell damage without being Nirnhund. So just at base level, at sharpened, it has 250 more spell damage than a staff, which will of course scale up and be closer to 300 some, so you're getting a lot more damage out of a 2H. You are not getting the light attacks of a lightning staff, which is a little unfortunate, but this is just the best for pumping out the most burst. When you look at spinners, you might think, why not use stuns? Well, I have used stuns, and I'll give you my opinion on why I don't like stuns quite as much. It's mostly because of the 2-3-4 piece here, mostly the 2-3. The 2-3 on spinners is two things of max magicka, which gives us damage, gives us healing, and gives us a little bit of extra sustain by bolstering our magicka pool a little bit, versus the 2 and 3 of stuns, which is 129 spell damage and then some pen. So this penetration is absolutely useless on the back bar, meaning that it's kind of a wasted set bonus there, just very ever so slightly. This one will give us more healing on the back bar, which is kind of a focus of mine. And also, you don't have to proc your penetration like you do with stuns. So stuns will be more damage, 4 to 5% more damage. It's definitely noticeable. but not too noticeable, but the extra healing is kind of my primary concern. Both of these sets are viable and work well on this build. If you want to push out a little more damage, go with stuns. If you want better sustain and a little bit better healing, go with spinners. Definitely up to you. I don't think either one is necessarily better. I'll leave that choice up to you though. So again, it is a sharpened two-handed greatsword with a weapon damage enchantment. That will push us up to about 4.5k spell damage, which is quite a lot. On the back bar, I do have a Restoration Staff of the Lich. It's the only piece of Lich that I am running, just to give me a little bit of extra Magicka recovery on the back bar. It is powered to give us the biggest possible heals. Now, you could use any Restoration Staff that you want here on this back bar. You could use a Maelstrom Resto, would work on this build. Not super reliable due to our low crit, but definitely works. You could use a Willpower to give us bigger healing. You could use Potentates or a two-piece armor, you know, whatever you want to make yourself bulkier. And also, when it comes to the trait, I like to do powered for the biggest healing possible to bounce back from low health quicker. But if you want to be tankier, you could go with defending and have a pretty big chunk more physical and spell resistance on your back bar. That is up to you. Again, I don't think either one is necessarily better. I think they're both good, and it's just a preference thing. I do use the double drain health poisons here. This applies 2 dots as well as 2 hots. This gives the enemy ouchies and gives us some healies. Very nice. Now, you may be asking why Restoration Staff? Well, the reason I like Restoration Staff is because of a few reasons. One, it's a staff. I like to have a staff on my build when I'm playing a Magplar at all times because I like to be able to get Magicka back with heavy attacks. That works really well with a Restoration Staff because when you channel a Restoration Staff heavy attack, it already gives you back a big chunk of extra resource versus a regular staff. Which let's go ahead and look at the passage real quick just so I can explain it to you. Let's see. Fully charged, heavy attacks restore 30% more Magicka. Well, when you are in heavy armor, you get back 25% more Magicka from heavy attacks. So these two together make you get back a massive chunk of Magicka when you do a Resto Heavy. So it definitely lets us run a little bit lower sustain and be a little more reckless, and pays us off pretty well for using the heavy attacks. It also gives us major mending when we complete a heavy attack, so that can give us a very big boost to our heals when we need it. And there are just some other things. It increases our healing with Restoration Staff. No, just our healing in general by up to 15% to allies under 30% health. So if you're at low health, your Honor the Dead will hit a whole lot. That stacks with the Templar passive that also heals us more the lower our health is. So that'll give you a big, massive Honor the Dead. Blocking spells gives back Magicka, not too important. Increases Restoration Staff spells. You know, it's nice, it's nice. But yeah, that's the primary reason. So, I've got those two. I do two-handed sword and Restoration Staff. Very fun combo. You could do Lightning Staff and Sword and Board if you want to do that, and I will go over how to do that when I get to the skills. I do have one-piece Molag Kina here. I only use the one piece. I'm not using a two-piece monster set here. So, I use one Kina because it gives me more spell damage. And I like spell damage. Spell damage is fun. You could use any one-piece monster set that you want, though. You could use something for armor. You could use something for max mag and stam if you want to, like a Dami House. You could use something for recovery if you aren't quite satisfied with where the recovery is at. This is definitely a choice you get to make yourself, but I like to pump out a little more damage and a little more healing, and that's why I chose this. My next 5-piece set is Eternal Vigor. I've tried a few other things. I tried Alessian for big health recovery, and that actually worked really well. I was almost at 4k health recovery, so that is definitely an option if you don't want to do Eternal Vigor. But I like Eternal Vigor. This is a rolling build, more so than a blocking build, because we are not using a ice staff, we're not using a sword and board. So all this extra stamina recovery is extremely helpful when you stack that on top of the fact that I have 6 well fitted on. So rolling costs a lot less, and we get our stamina back a lot faster to continue rolling for our defense. This is a very kitey build, so we're sprinting, we're dodge rolling, we're occasionally blocking, so all this extra stamina recovery on top of the Magicka recovery really helps us out. And yeah, this also allows us to go all into damage with our Mundus, with our race, with our enchants, just because it gives us a very large chunk of Magicka recovery. So this set basically single-handedly solves our sustain for us. It also gives us a very large boost to health recovery if we get to low health, which when that stacks on top of our already 1.5-ish K, that'll give us almost 3K when all the modifiers are taken into account. So it just helps us bounce back from low health a lot quicker. Magplar is already pretty good at bouncing back from low health, so those two things together, being a Magplar, having all the healing, and having this extra health recovery when you are low, just makes playing this build and staying alive a whole lot easier. I do have a pauldron because again I'm using one piece due to the mythic. I have 2 light right here, 2 light spinners, and again heavy. So this is 5 heavy, 2 light. The 2 light are for more sustain. This gives us some reduced cost and some recovery, very helpful. And everything is well fitted. I have this one reinforced because I have yet to transmute it, but I like the well fitted. Lets you roll a whole hell of a lot. And I have 1 single triglyph on just to make me have a nice round 18k stam. And then everything else is max mag for more heals, more damage. And yeah, you could do more triglyphs if you wanted to. If you triglyphed everything, you'd have about 30k health. If that's your style, you'd have even more stamina for rolling. You just lose out on a pretty good bit of damage if you are doing that. If you are a Breton, however, I would actually recommend going ahead and doing that anyway, because you won't have as much stam as a Dark Elf will. You will lose out on some damage, but it's not too big a deal because this build just does a lot anyway. And yeah, so I do all mag, 1 try. You could beef up the health however you want to, if that is a choice you want to make. I do have 1 Eternal Vigor Jewelry, 1 Spinner's Jewelry, of course, both infused with spell damage, and then, of course, the Malakath's Band of Brutality, because it is what it is, it's so great. And let me explain why I use this, because I know a lot of people hate to see this. They call it cheese, they call it a carry, they call it all sorts of things. The way I look at it, unless you are using procs, or unless you have 500 dots on your bar, it's not cheese and it's not a carry. The way I look at it is that it's just supplementing damage. It's replacing criticals with consistently higher damage. It's not always going to be ridiculously high. 25% is a lot, but it is not enough to carry all of your damage. You do have to build damage with this thing if you're not using procs. If you are not able to crit, that means you lose out on crit ultimates, which could hit for 11, 12k. You lose out on crits on your spammable, which make it hit a lot harder. You sacrifice a whole lot just to have this, to have consistently higher damage. Not as high as crits, especially on a Templar, where you would hit... I've hit 13k Crescent Sweeps before. The highest you'll hit on this thing is maybe 7 or 8. So it is a sacrifice. It's a give and take. It helps. It makes you have consistently high damage on a heavy armor build that builds no crit, at the sacrifice of losing out on the ability to absolutely delete somebody with a crit ultimate or a set of crit jabs. So if you don't want to use it though, I understand. Just throw on another Eternal Vigor Jewelry, or go all Spinner's Jewelry and run 7 heavy on body if you want to, and use a monster set. To make up for the loss of damage from Malakath, I would recommend using a damage monster set. The best 3 options I would say are number 1, Grothdar, because it gives you more magic, which gives us more heals, more overall damage, as well as a strong AoE dot that can apply burning for an extra dot. The second choice will be Balorg, for obvious reasons. Balorg is really strong, gives you a lot of spell damage, gives you a lot of penetration, and it can be used in a whole lot of different ways to just make sure you absolutely delete somebody. And last choice will be Valkynscoria. Valkynscoria would give you some penetration at all times, as well as a pretty decent burst when you are hitting somebody. So those are the 3 options. If you want to go with a defensive monster set, you could do either Troll King or Bloodspawn. I wouldn't use any of the other options there. You could do Pirate Skeleton if you want to. That'd be pretty AIDS. It'd be very tanky, and the loss to healing isn't really much. But honestly, I'd say Bloodspawn, Troll King are the 2 best options, especially when you consider the fact that we already do have a decent amount of health recovery. Troll King stacking on top of that would make us have a lot of passive healing. And Bloodspawn, everyone knows what Bloodspawn does. It's extra stamina recovery for more rolling, more sprinting, more blocking, and it gives us more armor, gives us ultimate, you know, it's a great set. So, that is it for my gear. Take a look at the skills real quick. So, starting here on the front bar, we're actually going to buff up real quick, pop the pot, and do that. We have Degeneration for a 15.8k single target dot over 11 seconds, which is pretty strong, pretty solid pressure. and it also gives us our major sorcery. I just had to pop a pot to get it real quick to show tooltips, so this will make sure you can use tripods instead. Toppling charge, this is our stun. It hits decently hard, it stuns people, it's a gap closer, it interrupts, and it sets off balance. Very loaded, very good skill. Solar barrage, this is an AoE dot. If we buff up again here, you see that it is a 2.6k magic damage every 2 seconds in an AoE around us. When this is buffed up by Malakath, that's basically like a 3k tooltip, so it hits respectably hard. It pulls Nightblades out of stealth, hits everyone around you, so you can selectively pressure people. You'll hit a group at the same time, and you'll see someone that's squishier in the back take a little bit more damage, so you can be like, okay, that's the guy I want to hit. It also procs a Templar passive that gives us a 10% bonus to our spell damage, which stacks, of course, with Degeneration. Gives us a nice 30% total. That's what gives us our nice high spell damage value. And it gives us Empower, increasing the damage of our light and heavy attacks by 40%. It's not too helpful on the 2H bar right now because the scaling doesn't work too well with physical weapons on a magic character, but it does make our resto heavy and light attacks hit respectably hard. Radiant Oppression, this is our execute. I really love the execute. It is a long channel, so it pressures people at low health and just consistently puts a lot of damage into them when they are in that under 50 threshold. It is ranged, and it cannot be dodge rolled. So when you get those Nightblades to low health and they just start spamming dodge rolls, this will just go right through their dodge roll and penetrate their rear and make them cry and kill them. So I really like it, really helpful. I wouldn't play without it. I used to put Purifying Light here. Not anymore. Purifying Light is doo-doo. Just run Radiant. You will not regret it. Then, of course, I'm a Templar. I've got my Puncturing Sweeps. Got a 4k tooltip on this. Each strike reduces enemy movement speed. It's an AoE channel, and it heals us for 52% of the damage done. It'll already hit very hard because it's got a high tooltip. We've got Malakath. We've got a lot of pen, so it'll also heal us for a lot, especially for hitting multiple people. Very good, very, very strong attack here. And then our ultimate is, of course, Crescent Sweep, buff up yet again, so you can see the tooltip, 11.3k. This absolutely deletes people. It hurts people in front of us by 60% more damage. And yeah, this is just a really solid ultimate. Cast time's a little wonky now, but it is what it is. This on top of Solar Barrage gives us a very nice AoE danger zone together, and if you are using Grothar because you don't want to use Malakath, then those three things together work very well to give us a lot of AoE pressure. Now on to the back bar here. I do have Honor the Dead. We're just going to continue to buff up. I like to show you the buffed tooltips if I can. 16.8k Honor the Dead. This is of course near an Alliance objective, so it gets a 20% buff. Away from the objective it's about 14.5k. Very strong. This thing will hit us very hard, or very high healing from this thing. With just my basic buffs up, there we go. Just my basic buffs up, 8.9k. Very helpful. Race Against Time. This is a movement speed buff as well as a snare removal, so this keeps us moving quick, since we are not a vampire in this build. Channeled Focus, this gives me my armor buff as well as some bonus recovery. Extended Ritual, this is another heal over time on the ground as well as a Purify to get off 5 negative effects. Do not use the damage morph, it is useless in comparison. And then we have Mag Vigor, as I like to call it. Let's go ahead and buff up so you can see the healing on this bad boy. Almost 30k over 5 seconds. It's better than a Vigor because it lasts longer and it heals for just as much. So this gives you a nice offensive window. You pop one of these, head to your front bar. You've got all this healing buffering your damage, so that way you can put down damage without worrying about taking a whole lot and having to swap back to your back bar to heal with an Honor the Dead. Back bar ultimate, I'm using the Restoration Staff ultimate. Buffed up, this thing is quite nuts. The healing on it is really ridiculous. At 14k every 1 second. It is unmorphed. I don't really know what the morphs do, but I feel like one of them gives you crit damage. Avoid that one. Do the other one. And yeah, another way that I've played this build is just replacing Honor the Dead altogether and using Living Dark here. Now that sounds a little funky, I know. Being on a Magicka Templar with no Honor the Dead, it's definitely a little weird, but look at the tooltip on this thing. 3.4k health every 0.5 seconds, essentially. That's extremely powerful. If you have rapid regeneration ticking, you're inside your extended ritual, and you have your living dark, you will constantly be receiving a ridiculous amount of healing, and you will feel very, very tanky. The only downside to this is that sometimes when you get to low health, unless you can roll a whole lot to keep yourself from taking that deadly offense, then it can be kind of rough to get out of the low zone sometimes, but not all the time. So it's a choice. Make it if you will. I really enjoy the Living Dark playstyle, but I also really enjoy the big fat heals from Honor the Dead. They're both viable though. So yeah, that's it for my skill setup on the two-hand and resto setup. If you want to do Sword and Board Lightning Staff, then here's what you do. You don't really need to make too many changes, it's really simple. Just put Living Dark here, and some other ult here. You could either put the Sword and Board Ultimate, or the Healing Ultimate from Templar, the Rite of Passage. And there you go, you're good. If you want to just scrap the auxiliary heal altogether to push out more damage, you can just move one of your front bar skills here and throw on Ellie Drain. I accidentally grabbed the wrong morph before I made the video, but this will also just increase your damage by a ridiculous sum and also give you more sustain. So there you go. These are the two different setups here. This is of course for, like I said, the Sword and Board Lightning Staff arrangement. And that is it for the skills. Before we take a look at CP, I do just want to talk about consumables. On Dark Elf, you might find that sometimes your sustain is a little rough because we're not using a recovery food. So if you want to, you could exchange Bewitched Sugar Skulls for Artaeum Takeaway Broth. I don't have any on me to show you, but it gives you like 3,000 health, magic recovery, and health recovery, so it's definitely a solid option. And just put some more triglyphs on to make up for the lack of stam. If you are a Breton, you will not need to do the other food because you'll have plenty of sustain. You can just sustain the Sugar Skulls with no problem, but you will lose it on damage. So those are the two foods I would say you could use. Then of course you want Tri-Stat Potions. This will give you back all of your resources and increase all of your recoveries, very helpful. You are going to probably want to keep Detect Potions on you, I always do. And then you want Health, Magic, Immunities, Sun Immunities here. These are really helpful for being able to give you an opportunity to do your damage without being stunned. So if you have someone that's constantly fearing you, someone that's constantly javelining you, someone that's trying to shoot you with a stupid bow stun out of a tower, these will typically give you plenty of time to kill that individual person. Unless they're like a 50k HP tank, then I guess you're just shit out of luck and should probably uninstall. Alright, lastly, let's take a look at the champion points. Just going to run through these really, really quickly. 56 Ironclad, 50 Resistant because we are all well fitted, 43 Hardy, 43 LA Defender. I would actually recommend putting more into Hardy as opposed to LA Defender, just because you do naturally have higher Magicka resistance as a Templar, and if you're a Breton, even more so. But yeah, I just keep them split evenly because I find I do have to deal with a lot more Sorks and Mag DKs lately, so, you know. 64 into Quick Recovery, again, I like healing, so got a lot of points into healing. 14 Heavy Armor Focus. 1 Siphoner, 18 Sprinter, because we will be sprinting a pretty good bit. 22 Warlord, or 66 Warlord, excuse me. 76 Arcanist, 43 Tenacity. You can put some into Health Recovery if you want to. 66 Tumbling, because again, we are rolling a lot on this build. 56 Blessed, because again, healing, healing, healing. 12%, 56 points into Ellie Expert for all of our damage. 52 points into Spell Erosion for more pen. 66 Master at Arms, and 40 Thaumaturge, because we do have two nice strong dots, and we want to utilize them to their fullest. And that is it for the champion points, and also that is it for the build. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too generic looking for you guys. I'm going to let the build do some speaking for itself now. We're going to go ahead and move on over into some commentary clip stuff where I kill people and I talk about it. So, if that's your kind of thing, stick around. If not, thank you for watching the video, and you guys have a great day. So the first fight here is a bit of a keep fight. I come up to the top and I see that I have a teammate here fighting some guys by himself. So I go ahead and help him out with his cleanup real quick. Leave him there to fight that tank alone because I'm not interested. Now I see this dude repairing, so I'm going to go ahead and jump on him, go ahead and dot him up, hit him with the topples, and he catches a choke thorn, so I'm not going to fight that too hard. Go ahead and channel a Resto Heavy to get some mag back, heavy restoration staff attacks, give you back a shit ton of magicka when you're in heavy armor, so they're very helpful. This guy is riding my nuts with the light attacks. Go ahead and dot him up, hit him with the ultimate, stun him, and execute, no problem, easy peasy. This guy is back. He is again getting choke thorned because he is just addicted, I guess. Go ahead and pop the rapid regens to give me some passive healing as I kite these guys. That's quite a few of them. Go ahead and put my my defenses down in here. Dot this guy up. Go ahead and topple in and delete him really quickly because he is a squishy boy. Catch him with the jump shot there. He's dead. Now I'm getting sniped. I don't want to just sit there and take the snipe, so I'm going to go back into my tower. Keep my rapid regen up to give me that healing. I'm going to try to get a heavy attack off here. Look at how much mag that gives back. It is quite a lot. This dude hits me with the saddest end cap I've ever seen in my life. Go ahead and ult these two guys. Put the damage into them. I'm trying to get the Nightblade here, but he's just rolling around too much. So I'm going to go ahead and kill this guy who's not healing himself. Get him with the beam. There he goes. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the quick dodge roll out of the door to get some heat off me while I heal myself up with my Honor the Dead. Pop a Resto Heavy to give me back even more mag. Now there's another guy here to help me out. Go ahead and topple this guy, poke him, keep poking him. I tried him with the execute there and it did not come out. It is what it is, but I get to poke him there and finish him off. And that is the end of this clip. There are blues in this keep, and they do most of the rest of the work, and there's not much interesting stuff left in this for me, so that's where I'm going to end this one. So second clip here, I have come to Vlasteris to liberate it from the red menace that is attacking. The first brave soldier that decides to engage me is a mag DK. Upon initial assessment, I have determined that they are quite inept, so I hit him with the heavy attack into the crescent, into the long beam, and they take a dirt nap. Now the Valiant level 22 decides to step up to the plate to defend the homeland, and sadly he doesn't make it home to his family. So I fixed my bar there, because I was being retarded on the way over here, and this 40k HP Warden decides he's going to move pot res the level 22, which is perfect, because it gives me an opportunity to just go all in on him. He decides to roll away, thinking his Warden heals will carry him to victory, and long story short, they don't. Level 22 gets back up, and then goes right back down. Now, I look around for any other threats, because I don't like leaving a job half-finished when I notice another player riding on over here to this flag. Go ahead and engage him, just to find out he is nothing but a tank. Very sad, but it is what it is. Luckily for me, there is another brave hero coming up and hitting me with lightning staff heavy attacks. 1 stun, 2 sets of sweeps, and an execute later, he is big dead. Now it's just me and the tank again, so I'm going to trade blows with him for a minute, and just do what I can, because I don't want him to take this. I'm not going to be able to kill him, though, because he's just quite tanky. Now, a notorious Xbox in a overload solo player desinker shows up, ready to do his God-given duty of annoying all solo players with a cheese proc build and overloads. So I go ahead and kite around the tree to make sure he can't get his eyes on me to hit me with his overloads and his Calurians and all of his other shit. Go ahead and channel the Resto Heavy there to get back some mag. And just keep kiting around the tree, keeping my rapid regen up for that healing over time, making sure that I am nice and healed up. Hit him with the topple into the crescent, hit him with some damage, and he somehow manages to slip away. And by somehow I mean he's carried by streak, so it is what it is. Pop the rapid regen into the heavy attack there to give the rapid regen some major mending. Pops me right back up to full health. Now keep on channeling some resto heavies here just to get back up to full magic while these guys are not on top of me. This dude overextends a little bit. I try to topple him, and he dodges it, meaning he has lost all of his stamina. So I topple him, he can't break free, and now he takes a dirt nap. Now there are 2 more reds up here on this flag. I'm going to make short work of them, topple in, hit the first guy with a set of sweeps and an execute, almost kill him before he stuns me. He does not take the opportunity to heal, so I hit him with another execute and he's dead. And of course the 521 doesn't put up much of a fight, catches the crescent in the face and a couple of sweeps, and that is the end of the second clip. So now coming up into the final fight, I am just dealing with 3 guys here when another dude decides to leap in on me while I am in a Destro ultimate. Not my favorite move. Go ahead and kite around this rock, pop the rapid regen, hit a few honors, jump on top of the rock to give myself some distance from the melee targets, and it's a really good move because I think it actually kept me from dying there, thank God. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the ultimate and try to get some damage in on these guys. I've got like 2 gank blades, a healer, I guess, and a stam DK. Now the stam DK is not doing anything to keep his health up, so I'm going to go ahead and start focusing on him, putting the damage into him. I keep on getting stunned though, because someone thought it was a good idea to give surprise attack a stun attached to it. Not my favorite move, but it is what it is. Go ahead and get the dots up, get the heals up, pop the ultimate and hit this DK with the execute, and he is dead. Continue the momentum and go ahead and kill this other Magblade. Poke, poke, poke into the execute, and then he is dead. Now this Brinkley Gaming guy is nothing but like a heal tank. I don't even really know what to say about this guy's build. He just is kind of annoying. Unfortunately for me, there is a Gank Blade still on top of me with Calurians and all that fun stuff, so I've just kind of have to try to heal through it. I'm standing in the meteor right there, not my proudest moment, but it is what it is. Come up the hill as more decide to come and jump me. And yeah, just kind of take up residence here between these two rocks to increase my chances of kiting, give me a little more room to move around. Go ahead and decide to focus the Lobby here, but he is surprisingly the most tanky one out of all three of these guys. I guess that's just what Warden has become, unfortunately. Go ahead and kite all these procs, get my buffs up, get my heals up. Focus the Stam DK again now that he is back. He's, again, the squishiest one, except for maybe the Magblade over there, but the Magblade is hiding in stealth and waiting for opportune moments to attack me. I guess I can't really blame him, that's just kind of the playstyle he's decided to go for. I don't really like it, but, you know, that's what he wants to do, so... Anyway, I'm still on top of the Stam DK. Stam DK decides to just go rolling off the cliff. So now it's just me and these two. This dude hasn't healed himself up yet, so I jump on top of him, hit him with the sweeps and the execute, and he is dead. Now I jump on top of the Lobby Magden, and he just heals right through it, because he knows what he's doing on his class. Very good job. Pops the perma. So I'm just kind of kiting now, because I've got the procs on me, I've got the perma on me, I'm getting execute spam by the DK, and it's really annoying, but it's okay. Because I've got really solid healing, and these guys can't really hurt me too bad. Go ahead and focus the DK down, hit him with all of the damage, the topple, the sweeps, and the long beam. He is done for, and now it is just me and the Lobby Magden. There's the crescent, here comes the topple in a second, some sweeps, and an execute, and he's dead. That is the end of the final fight. I do have a bonus clip here of me 2v4ing some guys with a friend. But aside from that, that is the end of the video, so thank you guys all for watching this far if you have. Remember to go and follow me on Twitch, join my Discord if you want to, and just come hang out with me. Aside from that, I hope you guys all have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the video again. And yeah, hope to see you guys out there in Cyrodiil. Take care. Kuro out. I could follow you around like chocolate, these far. That you wanted me smart.